be able to reflect today as we get into this launch on our security. Are we safe? And how can we be safe? Please engage with us. AYETA Toolkit is designed with the overarching aim of addressing the growing need to be able to safeguard digital rights defenders, journalists, whistleblowers, and others working with sensitive information in the global south. So basically, you'll see that this is something that is very critical to our work and critical to our enjoyment of our space. Many thanks as we proceed with this launch to critical partners who have worked on this project. So the AYETA Toolkit itself was developed as a 2020 Stanford Digital Civil Society Fellowship project with additional support from the Netherlands Human Rights Fund. You'll be able to be taken through that AYETA Digital Toolkit today. So please buckle up, stay put, and enjoy what we have for you. Would also like to acknowledge specific, contributors who have enabled this toolkit to be able to be produced. So special thanks to Ashna Kalimera, Beran Tai, Demba Kande, Ephraim Kenyanito, Koliwe Majama, Liz Orembo, Nima Lai, Neil Blazovic, Oluwatosin, Oyinka Sola, Ronald Kekembo, and Vivian Afor. I think you hear more from colleagues who are going to come through on this program about our contributing partners and the great work that they've done. So please, as I said, stay put as we take you through this wonderful launch of AYETA. I'm sure the name itself will be demystified and be made simple so that you're able to relate with it for those who are not sure what AYETA means. But before we go forward with this program, I'm going to invite you, to address yourselves to a poll that is going to be put up shortly by one of my colleagues. Please take the time, to engage with digital security. What do you think digital security is? How conscious are you of the need to be secure when using digital devices or when online? Very essential, very critical. I'm going to, allow you a couple of minutes, or maybe let me put it at 3 or 4 minutes for you to be able to take that poll. Then I will give an indication for the poll to end, and then we can get the results. Today, we say that we are launching something phenomenal, AYETA. How conscious are you of the need to be secure when using digital devices or when you are online? It's interesting that when you're looking at this poll, it looks at, it's got a number of, answers there. There's paranoid, quite conscious, mildly conscious, not so conscious, I don't care. Interesting. Take your time, think about it. How conscious are you? I see that our responses are coming through. 74% has voted so far. 80% have voted. Excellent, we are almost there. We're almost there. I think we have another minute to go, and then we're going to close our poll. Think about it. Today is International Human Rights Day. How can we recover better? How can we continue to occupy the digital ecosystem? How can media freedoms be protected? How can human rights defenders be secure? How can activists be secure? Civil society actors, how can they remain in operation to ensure that human rights are protected going forward? Thank you so much. We are on 93%. You have been great. We're having our countdown now. You'll be having the results soon on how conscious you are of the need to be secure when using digital devices or when online. Thank you so much. I think we can end our poll. Thank you so much. I think there we have it, 10%. Paranoid, quite conscious, that's 68%. Mildly conscious, 23%. Not so conscious, well, nobody is not so conscious. And everybody seems to care about, being digitally secure online. Thank you so much. I think we've had a good response to this poll. It'll be great to review and see how this goes at the end of our session. Allow me then to proceed right with the order of the day today. We are going to be able to engage with, a number of speakers today who are going to take us through AYETA Toolkit. We are also going to hear from, those who took part in making sure that we have AYETA Toolkit. We're also going to be able to, interact with the contributors as well, our project partners who are very supportive in the release of AYETA. So without further ado, let me invite Boniface to just come on board and share a few remarks, who is going to be followed by Boye. It'll be nice that we interact with you and hear from you. So please feel free, unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and take us through your remarks.
Thank you, Tobekile, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining this virtual event from. A quick apology because of bandwidth issues. I'm going to be on audio only. So thank you everyone for finding time to join us for the AYETA Digital Security Toolkit, the beta launch. This launch, as my colleague has mentioned, coincides with this year's Human Rights Day. So my name is Boniface Witaba, the research assistant that has been over the last 9 months working alongside Benga in developing this digital security toolkit. So just a quick overview on AYETA. It's been developed as a Stanford 2020 Stanford Digital Civil Society Fellowship project. Of course, with extra funding from the Netherlands Human Rights Fund. So the term AYETA is derived from Yoruba, a language spoken by Yoruba people, an ethnic group that inhabits Western Africa. That's mainly in the countries of Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and parts of Ghana. So the term AYETA loosely translates to a safeguarding shield that's mostly used by warriors in wars. So the term rightly depicts the very nature of the toolkit that we've developed, that is safeguarding the digital rights of defenders, journalists, whistleblowers, and others that work in the area of sensitive information in the global south. So this has been a 9-month journey. So we started, Benga and I started by reviewing existing digital security toolkits and guides that were developed by other partners or organizations. So this was in the quest to find the existing gaps and opportunities for the new toolkit that we wanted to build on. So after this phase, the next step was developing draft 0 of the toolkit. So based on the gaps that we were able to identify in the existing toolkits. So it's this draft 0 that we were able to share with partners that my colleague has mentioned. So from CPESA to Access Now, to CC Hub and PictaNet, and amongst others. So they're all with us here. They'll be giving their remarks later on. So we're able to get feedback from them based on the toolkit that we had come up with. And according to what we gathered from them, they preferred a toolkit that was very interactive with its users. So as a result, we are able to incorporate the element of gamification. So we've developed a game for the toolkit. The link has been posted on the Paradigm Initiative website. So even though later on we'll have a specific website for it. And then we also have illustrations incorporated in the toolkit in the quest to at least lower the learning curve. And the toolkit is going to be in three versions. We have the English version, and the French version, and the Swahili version. So this is in the quest to accommodate other languages and reach out to a greater audience. So last but not least, the toolkit is going to be a living document, meaning to be regularly be reviewed and updated by Paradigm Initiative based on the feedback that we receive from the users. And then every year during the Digital Rights Inclusion Forum that's usually held in Abuja, Nigeria, we'll incorporate all the views so that we can have a newer version each time. So thank you so much, and over to you, Tobekile.
Thank you so much, Boniface, and congratulations on this great work. I'll hand over right to Adeboye to also give us his remarks.
Thank you, Tobekile, and welcome everybody. I see a lot of our friends on the call. Thanks all of you for being part of this. This moment is quite a special moment because uh, given that I have the privilege to be part of the conception stages and all of that, it's a proud moment because this is like uh, giving voice to a lot of things that we've talked about, both as Paradigm Initiative and for many of us who belong to the space. We've talked about some of these things, and this also represents a lot of the work we have done over over a period of years. I think it's great to see that that work has now been put together in what we know as AYETA today. And I think great opportunity for those who are new to the space and those who will be joining the space subsequently. When many of us joined the space, we didn't have a resource like this that we could lay our hand on to bring us to speed on what we need to do and the steps we need to take. I usually tell most times when we are trying to maybe recruiting a Paradigm Initiative, I usually tell our new, new staff, I usually tell them that you don't really have the latitude to learn, to be a learner, you have to jump on the train. But I think right now with AYETA, you have all the opportunity you need you have all the resources you need to that can bring you up to speed on what exactly is digital rights or digital inclusion advocacy is all about, and how do you navigate without getting hit by the bullet. I don't know if anybody has had the opportunity to talk about the the literal meaning of the word AYETA, especially in Yoruba language. So this resource is an amazing resource that will allow you to navigate the space without being hit by the bullets of the oppressors, of the bullies, of those who seek or who are determined to take away our rights. So it's an amazing to see of this in one way or the other. So kudos to Boniface, our friend, who worked with Benga as research assistant for this project, and kudos to Benga also because I'm particularly impressed, not just because this literally was just an idea we talked about during meetings. It's just like that thing. So it's so exciting to see that thing that we used to talk about come to life today. We are very proud of this moment, and we are proud of everybody who has been part of the process, people who made input in the process of developing AYETA, and people who from this movement begin to also spread the news, in their own community, amongst their friends and all of that. But the final thing I'll say is that I encourage you to also lay your hand on these resources, navigate it, and use it to empower the younger folks in the community and those who want to be part of the community. It's an amazing resource. resources. I was part of the process, these resources are so rich. They represent years of experience of different actors in the space, also years of partner initiative work in the space, a lot of interventions that we have done and all of that. So you find this very amazing. What is inside these resources are 10 to 15 years of combined experience of many people who work in the space today. And what it means is that somebody can pick that up in 3 months, and in 6 months, you get acquainted and familiar with that resources. So it's an amazing thing. It is marvelous in our eyes. Thank you very much. That will be the end of my remarks. I hope we have a great time while having the conversation today. Bye.
Thank you so much, Boye. I see the excitement there building up, and you've also touched on something interesting in terms of what AYETA means. Bulletproof, how we can defend ourselves. So this is like one of those the bulletproof vest that we see in the movies, and you find that we need this as human rights defenders, as whistleblowers, as mentioned by Boniface, activists, as we're doing our work. We need to be safe and secure. And what better, weapon or protective, clothing than AYETA, our digital rights toolkit. So thank you so much. Very exciting. It's very interesting as well that it's very actually essential that we hear from, our critical partners. We've also made contributions to AYETA. So I'll just jump right in there and invite, Ashna to also from CIPESA to jump on board and introduce herself and, just take us through her remarks as well as we are launching our, protective clothing, our bulletproof vest, our AYETA. Over to you, Ashna. Maybe
Hi,
while we wait.
How are you doing?
Doing great, thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's great that you're with us today.
Yes, thank you. I wasn't aware that I would have an opportunity to speak, so I haven't prepared anything, and you're putting me on the spot right now.
So sorry. But it's great that you were able to join us, and I don't know if you have anything to say. If not, then it's still all right as well.
Congratulations on this great initiative. Tools and resources to secure the work of human rights defenders and activists on the continent are in need. It's also good to see that the title of the resource has been localized, having its origins in Yoruba. It would be good to see that the tool eventually is further localized to be available in local languages that are more accessible to activists and human rights defenders on the ground. And yes, we're looking forward to sharing the tool within our wide network as CIPESA and providing any feedback and comments to future iterations of it and updates. I assume those will happen along the way as technology advances. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashna. Very, great comments there, and we appreciate that even as much as we've ambushed you. And thank you so much for your valuable contribution. It's also congratulations, to you as well, having been part of the process. So we fully appreciate that. May I also ask Nima? Sorry, my apologies for ambushing you. But feel free to just say a few remarks as this is collectively our digital rights toolkit, and we value your contribution. Nima, are you on the call? May I also maybe just ask Vivian if you're on, Vivian Afor from Media Foundation for West Africa, to also say something if you're ready to go for it.
Hi. Yes, thank you for the opportunity. The Media Foundation is grateful to Paradigm, Benga, if I should say, for giving us the opportunity to be part of the process. I think that both Boye and Ashna have alluded to how rich the resources. And for me, whilst reviewing or going through the document, I was really impressed with the various elements, and I think it's a very great resource for human rights defenders and actually for the everyday person. I think that for most of the time when we have conversations about support for our advocacy for the work that we do, the responses are that sometimes people really don't understand what we mean or what we are fighting for. What is freedom of expression? What is digital rights? But a resource like this would help, quote unquote, ordinary people to understand, what our noise is all about, all the noise that we are making, what it's about, and how they can also contribute to that noise that we are all making. So I'd like to, like everyone else, congratulate Benga and Boniface for this great resource. And I hope that for all of us that are joining the launch today, we would use it in our work because, it's, like I said, it's everything that you would need for digital rights advocacy and for even, a learning experience. So I hope to use it for our digital rights literacy trainings that we are doing. And, I wish Benga and everyone all the best with this toolkit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vivian. You touch on something, that is very critical and useful, that is, necessary in this time, that we demystify, digital rights and simplify things so that we're able to empower, communities to be able to, to continue to advocate for digital rights and also be safe and secure in this space. Thank you so much for that. Yes. So I think I can, from this point, thank all our contributors, even those who've not, been here, we've not managed to be here or to make any contributions today. But bear in mind that for us to have AYETA, this could not have been achieved without our, contributors. So we are, sending out a congratulatory message as well to our contributors. So without much further ado, I will then, invite, the Paradigm Initiative Executive Director, Benga, to be able to come and just, give some remarks and I think basically just give us, a background and, just to, make us get the overall picture when we're looking at AYETA. Over to you, and congratulations. Are everywhere in this room. Congratulatory messages. Over to you, Benga.
Thank you so much, Thebekile, and congratulations to everyone. Thanks a lot to Boniface because starting this for me was built on the conversations. Like Boye said, we had been having these conversations for a while, but as we all know, you're in the thick of things, so you're getting work done. You're trying to make sure that Central Africa is covered. It's the one region where there isn't too much support and spotlight, but there's a lot going on there. So you want to get stuff done there. You want to work in East Africa, where there are now new interesting issues going on. We all saw Tanzania move from one end of the slide almost to the other end in less than a decade. In fact, in less than 5 years. We saw a lot of changes. Gambia before, now Gambia now, Ethiopia. Everybody got excited, almost good news. And now again, we're like, what's going on? So in the thick of all that, it's almost impossible for you to take a break to go and get some research work done. But of course, you still have to do that. So that's why the unique opportunity to be able to do this with the Stanford Digital Civil Society Fellowship was very much welcome. And, thankfully, we got a wonderful research assistant in Boniface. And of course, as I will, once I reveal the toolkit, I'll also go again later to talk about the partners that we worked with, who were extremely grateful that we got a chance to work with. And of course, the team at Payne, like a joke I shared with Boye a few days ago, it's now, I've now handed over. This is the research part of it. The first background part of it is now done. It's now Boye's baby, Thubekile's baby, and the rest of the team for them to run with it. And for the rest of us on the team, of course, to support them. And like Bonfe said, this is not the final product. The English version you see today, the French version you see today, the Swahili version, and this to the point of Ashna, it's a very, very important point. 2021, as I've said in-house, and I say now, is the year of local content for us, a Paradigm Initiative. Our work will increasingly be made available in local languages, at least beginning with one that is commonly spoken across the continent, which is Swahili. I look forward to the days when you can literally, access any resource on the continent from digital rights, organizations, and you can choose for it to be in Igbo, in Zulu, in Xhosa, in any language, that you want across the continent. But the journey, of course, will continue. It's always exciting to see that, so it's great that we're doing this today. I want to quickly say three things before I then go ahead to present the toolkit itself and say a bit more about it. The first is the thinking behind this project. So when we were talking December last year, which looks like a very long time ago, at the Payne annual retreat, we were having a conversation about AYETA, and we were talking about the need to make sure that we do it in 2020. We had no idea that some of the reasons that we had in mind would play right before our eyes. One key reason we wanted to do this was because, yes, we do digital security training. Many of our partners do the same thing, but people should not need to come for a training, for them to be able to get access to the tools that can help them. Like many people who have spoken before me have said, AYETA is a Yoruba word that means bulletproof vest. If you've ever seen a policeman in a bulletproof vest, just think of the local version of it that used to be worn by the hunters, the age-old hunters in Yoruba land, who then, of course, some of them were warriors who went to war, and you will shoot at them and they will keep charging towards you, because they were not affected, because they had on their AYETA. And we think that this toolkit can provide information and resources for digital rights actors across the continent, especially as we see increasing violation of digital rights. Today is Human Rights Day, and we thought it was a great idea to make this part of the conversation. Yes, human rights are digital rights are human rights, but that opportunity to protect yourself, either you've been involved in a peaceful protest, or you're working to train other citizens, or you're working on policy initiatives that can help everyone across the continent as far as digital rights is concerned, or you're a litigator, a lawyer who is basically helping people to make sure that, they seek redress successfully, whichever category you fall into. Or you're a journalist who is, of course, you have to protect your sources, and you're writing about corruption in your country, and then the government is thinking of how to get access to your devices. This is an opportunity for you to learn how to protect yourself and be able to, of course, pass on that message to other people so they can also learn from that. So the first reason we had in mind was how to make sure that citizens, organizations, and individuals who are activists or active citizens are protected. The second reason we wanted to to do this is because every time we do our digital security training, we sort of use similar materials. They're updated from time to time, but people have the same questions. The same questions about passwords, the same questions about protection of their devices, the same questions about phishing, the same questions about internet shutdowns, the same questions about what should I do, what can I do. So we thought, having done, about 7 years of training on our first edition of our digital rights, what we called internet policy training, which later was called digital rights workshop, which has now become a digital rights academy because it's now broader. We've done that. The first edition was in December 2013. And between then and now, what we've done is to be able to put all of the questions people typically ask. We've answered them and provided more information about them. Now, the third thing that I want to say, which is the reason why we're doing this, is also to break down the jargon. Like has been said, by Vivian and I think also Thubekile. I can't forget the time we went for lunch after for dinner, one of our, many events. I think it was an event hosted by CPESA. I think it was FIFA. Or either a Ford Foundation event. I can't remember which it was right now. We had dinner and we had started, going for dinner. We got there. And when we got there, we saw this woman making a presentation about zootonic diseases. And we're like, what's going on here? We're here to eat, not to listen. And, they told us, she'll speak for a few minutes. They do that every evening so that people who are experts can talk about the topic. And after that, there will be music. After that, we can eat. And we waited. 1 minute became 30 minutes, became 5 minutes, became 7 minutes. When you're excited about what you know and what you do, like many of us are as digital rights actors, she began to talk endlessly. The slides continued and everything. By the time she was done, the music guys were bored. They didn't do good music. The food was cold, and we were leaving the restaurant. And then we joked that we're talking about it and said, that woman, she was quite boring, blah, blah, blah. And someone in the group said, by the way, do you know that's how you sound? When you talk about digital rights, internet shutdown, circumvention opportunities, there are people that it doesn't make any sense to. There are people who they need to know, but they don't know what you're saying. They are the reason why, we're putting all this together in a document. It's not just going to be a document. AYETA.Africa is live, but I will tell you when to go there so that you can see everything. If you go there now, whatever you see, you're up to that. But that platform will have the downloadable materials in English, in French, and in Swahili, and increasingly, I trust that Boye and Thubekile will lead us to be able to make this available in Igbo, Hausa, Shona, Zulu, maybe even in Pidgin or Creole, because those are two broken languages that many people use across the continent. But the basic idea is that this will then be a resource that is available to everyone, so that we can use it to learn and use it to teach other people also. I will now go ahead and share elements of the toolkit with us. This, I think I just saw Tokwe Ogundikwe joining the call, if I'm right. I'm sure she will be glad to see this. This is one of those things, that we were talking about, and of course that she did lay some foundation for. Okay, so I'm hoping that everyone can see this. Thubekile, can you see the toolkit on my screen?
Yes.
Oh, great. So basically, this is it. As you can see, it is supported by the Kingdom of the Netherlands. We have funding support from them to be able to make this available, in terms of various languages, and to be able to do not just a toolkit, but also gamification. We're working in partnership with Policy, which is based in Uganda, to be able to make this gaming experience possible. We've also worked with a vendor. So when, I'll show you in a second, there is a game that is now available that allows you to learn and be able to do many of those things. And of course, this is made possible through the Stanford Center for Philanthropy and Civil Society, the Digital Civil Society Fellowship. And this is basically, as I said earlier, that there are people that we're very grateful to. Of course, Boniface worked directly with me on this, and I said to him earlier today, today is actually your birthday, and we laughed about it because this has been on since for literally we started this as the lockdown started, and this is the first version. That's why we're saying we're presenting the beta version today. So the various individuals who work on this. The first version in English was, proofread by Fisayo Alo, who is an independent consultant. We, of course, want to especially thank, Ashna, who is on the call from CIPESA. Partners, Berhan from Access Now, Demba Kande from the School of Journalism and Digital Media in the University of the Gambia, Ephraim Kenyanito from Article 19, Koliwe Majama from the African Declaration at the APC, Liz Orembo from the Kenyan ICT Action Network, Nima from Policy, Neil Blazevic, who is a digital security expert, Oluwatosin Alagbe from the Premium Times Center for Investigative Journalism, Oyekonsola from Co-Creation Hub, Ronald, very our in-house digital security expert, literally, because Ronald is almost always there at our digital security training sessions. No thanks to the coronavirus, we haven't seen Ronald this year, but Ronald from Frontline Defenders, and of course, Vivian, who is with us on this call from the Media Foundation for West Africa. Their work in reviewing the first version is what then led to a lot of what you will see in this toolkit. So as you can see, there are 4 major sections. The first section focuses on the background, information, what are digital rights, the charters that lay the foundation for this, who are the digital security actors on the continent. The second chapter focuses a lot on the tips. The third chapter focuses on mitigating risk. And the fourth chapter is exclusively focused on internet shutdowns. And then, of course, we've got the glossary of terms. And of course, as you can see, there's a lot of illustration in this document, because one of the major popular feedback that we got from our partners is not just the text, but also to make sure that people are able to see what's going on. So from the UN Declaration on Human Rights to the African Charter to the AU Declaration, you see the digital security actors on the continent, people who either focus on digital security or work in digital security or promote digital security amongst actors. You can see the names here. And you can see more information about them: Access Now, African Defenders, APC, Article 19, CCOB, CPESA, CPJ, REDAC in Central Africa, Cybersecurity Africa, Digital Defenders. Some of these people, some of you know them already, some of you work with them already, but we're glad to be able to introduce a few other people from countries that many people may not even know a bit about. The usual suspects are all bad, and of course other organizations that are new to this. We focused on providing information about relevant events because one of the questions that people asked was, where can I go to be able to get more information about the things that are happening? We've talked about, our own events, our Digital Rights and Inclusion Forum, the AfriSIG sessions, FIFA Africa, Demo Day by CC Hub, and many other regional and national initiatives. And all of the details are available. So you can see we've provided the URL so that you can visit and see the information. And some of them, of course, are hyperlinked. Apart from that, there are some case studies on Cameroon, Nigeria, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, that you will find extremely useful, that are focused on, legislative environments, internet shutdowns, court actions, and, various opportunities that we think people should have in terms of having access to information. Some of them focus also on individuals. So everybody, a lot of people know the stories of colleagues in Tanzania and Zimbabwe who have been major leaders and have come under a lot of scrutiny by government. Their stories are featured here, and you can see the case studies. And we've also included, apart from that, we've included various a lot of information about.
Sorry, Benga, if I can just come in there, and we're not seeing some of your slides. I mean, your slides. So I don't know.
Can you see it now?
We see the AYETA front page.
Okay, that's interesting. I'll stop sharing and share my entire screen. Maybe that will help. Do you see it now?
We see it now. Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Okay. So you can see the model policy briefs. If you want to make a statement about some of the things that are going on, you can talk about those model coalition statements. Some of our partners that we've worked with, if there is a shutdown or a particular digital security incident in a particular region or country that you want to share information about, there's a model. It's a template. You can easily get information from there. We talked a bit about digital security and safety, how to stay protected online, digital hygiene. Please do not do this at home. Do not spray directly on your screen. This is just an illustration. Benefits of digital hygiene, and there's a figure here in terms of developing safe online habits, from keeping systems up to date to running versions, avoiding phishing scams, and all of this are discussed in this toolkit. So you can see that all of the elements on this page are discussed in details: online habits, passwords, and authentication. One of the things that I'm hoping we can learn to normalize as we continue is to use our local languages to create passwords. It doesn't have to be in English. It's one of those things. Importance of managers, common password attacks. It will surprise you. According to a 2019 report, these are the 10 most commonly used passwords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some people make it 7, 8, 9. QWERTY password. Password used to be on top of the list at some point. Thankfully, it is now. Someone thought of making it a bit more complex and made it password 1, but obviously that doesn't work. We talked a bit about how attacks happen and what you can do to increase, to reduce the likelihood of an attack having an impact on you. An example is the fact that, if you increase the length of your password properly and you use all forms of characters, uppercase, lowercase, special characters, local language, you may increase the likelihood, the amount of time that will be required to break through using a personal computer. Not using some more powerful supercomputers. Could be as much as 154 billion millennia. Of course, nobody is going to spend that much time focused on just you alone. Creating strong passwords, syncing passwords. We can't say enough about multi-factor authentication. Everybody says use 2FA, use 2FA. Now it's been explained here in details on how it's done. As you can see, there are hyperlinks in the notes here. There are, so that you can go to get more information from some of the sources where some of this information have been further explained. And you also have, mobile application details for those who want to do this on mobile phones. 2FA further explain how does it work online, and it's broken down here. Feel free to use this in your training. This is a summary of how 2FA works, or two-factor authentication. Why should you do it? What are the downsides? We now know that SMS may not be safe as it once used to be in terms of 2FA. We talked a bit about firewalls, encryption. That's extremely important. VPNs, increasingly, as access is tampered with in various African countries, this will be very useful. Commercial VPNs and of course free VPNs. And we talked a bit about the Tor browser and some other tools. But one part of this that I'm very excited about is that now that a lot more people are doing remote work, we had a chance, thanks to everyone who worked on this and the feedback we got in terms of how, as a remote worker, if you're still working remotely, I mean, we are working remotely at PIN, at least until January. The leadership team will tell us if we will resume physically in January. But until then, these are some of the tips that, will help you in terms of, working remotely. These are also tips for employers. It's not just to put a burden on, the team members, but also what employers must do to be able to make sure, that the support from the back end. Video conferencing tools. I know that many people are zoomed out, as it is now said, but, other tools are available that, Jitsi meets. It's ironic that I'm saying this on Zoom, but, it is what it is. Signal, WebEx, and others. We talked a bit about malware and ransomware, and some of the things that, people can use to prevent, that from happening. Surveillance and mass surveillance, and, phishing attacks, fake domain attacks, man in the middle, MITM attacks, DDoS attacks, and a bit more. And of course, there are a lot of resources, the cyber stalking and cyberbullying, which are major issues, and a lot more resources, secondary resources that we believe we've looked at them. We think they're very useful, and we think that anybody with a lot more interest should please take a look at them. And the third chapter focuses on digital and physical security, because even if you secure your devices and you meet a policeman who says, put in your password and give me your phone, there's so much that you need to know in terms of digital security at protests, keeping your preparation private, full disk encryption, Signal and other tools that can be useful, backing up your data. It is interesting that many of us associate burner phones with selling drugs because no thanks to movies, but it is what it is in certain environments where you have to do that. In many of our countries, that's more difficult because you can't do that. You can't get a phone without registering and putting your fingerprints and things like that on it. Physical security is extremely important. What do we need to mitigate security threats? There's some risks you have to accept, avoiding the risks, looking at the context of where you are at. The closer you are to the capital city of a country at times, there are certain things you have to consider. And there are resources here, and we focus exclusively for chapter 4 on internet shutdowns because, of course, of the experience that we've had, over the last few years on the continent. There was a time when internet shutdown was just was a real thing. It wasn't a threat that ministers made. We will shut down the internet so that you cannot talk. And there's a bit of information here in terms of disruptions over the last 4 years. 22 African governments. That's more than a third, almost half of the number of countries on the continent have shut down in the last 4 years. Since the start of 2019, as at the time we put this together, Algeria, DRC, Chad, Gabon, Sudan, Zimbabwe. When we update this, you will find Ethiopia there. You will find, a few other countries like Guinea, also there. Circumventing shutdowns, what you can do, certain levels of disruptions, what you can do with VPNs, with measurement. We think that it's important to measure. We've introduced one of the tools here. We've talked about also using the same tool in terms of advocacy. Thankfully, one of our partners, EPESA, and Brookings Institution, and some other people have tools that you can use, and we've linked to those. You can see the NetBlocks example here. And for those who I doubt that anyone doesn't know about the Keep It On Coalition, but yes, there are people who don't. So there's information about that here, and of course, a glossary of terms. These are things you don't have to cram. These are things that you get to know over time. But if you're a beginner, it helps to be able to have a conversation. And when someone talks about anonymity, you're not wondering what exactly they're talking about, or encryption. From all that. And of course, web-based proxy, and that is the toolkit. And so apart from the document, like I mentioned, we also have some other resources. So if you do go to AYETA.Africa, you will be able to find information about, and we'll just share that. That's easy to remember. AYETA.Africa. You will see on AYETA.Africa, and I will just go there for a second. Of course, today is Human Rights Day, so that's congratulations to everyone. Happy Human Rights Day, December 10. The English, French, and Swahili versions, but there is also the opportunity to play games and learn, and we invite you to do that. I understand that at Paradigm Initiative, there is an ongoing contest for who's going to have the highest scores. We invite you to play the game. we invite you to share your scores with us. If you beat everyone at Paradigm Initiative, then you will be the reigning champion. But I think we will definitely exclude 2 people from playing that game. One of them is Boniface, so that it doesn't game the system, and the other person will be Charles, who I see on this call, one of the people who worked on the game design. They are excluded from the contest, but maybe we'll exclude Thebekile and Boye also. But it's okay. So that's pretty much the toolkit for you, and I'm more than happy to now ask us some questions, and I'll launch a very short poll, and I'm hoping that so this poll is asking a question about elements of the AYETA toolkit that you consider most useful. Feel free to use the last to choose the last option. If it's background information on digital rights, and I will ask for the help of Thebekile, who I think has the gift of getting everyone to feel to complete polls, to please help here, and to then let us know when she has done our magic with getting everyone to complete the poll.
Thank you so much, Benga. That was very exciting and very wholesome. And the game, please, it's very exciting. I invite everyone to, attempt, apart from those who were excluded. So try and engage with it, and you'll be surprised, Benga, that I took that poll. I will never reveal my score until I do it the second time. Then I'll give you what I would call the actual score. So thank you. And thank you for everyone who is engaging with our poll. It's happening. Yeah. I think we'll give it some other 2 minutes or so. And so far we're on 44%. Thank you to the 17 who have voted out of 38. May we keep the votes coming. I assure you there won't be any rigging. There will be great counting of the results. So yes, let's keep it coming. We which elements of the AYETA toolkit do you consider most useful? Was it a background information, the sector mapping, the sample documents, or cases on model briefs and statements, digital security, hygiene tips?
And I think you can select more than one. I'm sure, various people have been selecting multiple.
Yeah. Digital security, hygiene tips, internet shutdown, circumvention, measurements, and advocacy. Well, if you've been in a country where there's been an internet shutdown, I already can see you being biased. I'm actually biased because I now know the impact of being shut down from the internet. Glossary section. Interesting. Okay. May we keep the votes coming in? I don't know if we restarted this poll because somehow I've gone down to 29% who have voted.
I think it's because 2 people just joined us.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That explains a lot. So for now, I'm on 34%. So I'll give an additional 2 minutes so that we have these votes coming in. The illustrations, I love the illustrations. I'm not trying to influence anyone. Please don't be influenced by me, but I love, those illustrations. I hope, Benga, you can just tell us about these illustrations at some point.
Yes, I mean, while people complete the poll, I'm happy to speak to the fact that we got feedback on the need for illustrations, because they are while you need to translate text, you don't have to translate illustrations. They speak to you, literally. And one of the advantages also is that it also is useful for for people who may have who maybe obviously they don't want to read the toolkit in full, but they just want to grab a quick picture of the subject matter. It's like an infograph that has the information you need without having to read all of the full details. And in case you're doing some training and you want to share with people, you obviously do not want to put the entire text up. What you're able to share is the infograph, so that people will be able to see that and you can speak to it. Okay, let me know if I should.
I think we can end the poll now. And thank you so much for just explaining that around the illustrations. So yes, let's see how this went. All right, so 30% found the background information useful. 27% were happy with the sector mapping. 24% on the sample documents. Yeah, we've got a winner there on digital security and hygiene tips. This is very essential. Thank you for that. And 64% internet shutdown circumvention. It's also our runner-up. And then the glossary section, 9%, gamification, 12%, illustrations, 18%, availability in multiple languages, 36%, and we don't have anyone who ticked on none of the above. So basically, I think it's echoing, the importance of this toolkit when we're talking about digital security and how we need to be able to be digitally secure so that we are able to continue to operate within our spaces. So thank you so much for that, Benga. I don't know if you have any last remarks before we.
It's just, we've got some media people with us, I guess, and also anyone else who's on the call. I'm more than happy, and not just me, Boniface, Boye, yourself, if there are questions, more than happy to take them. And we've got time for that, a lot of time.
Thank you so much. So there we have it, colleagues, there we have it. We have officially unveiled AYETA our digital rights toolkit, and we would like to hear from you. So we're going to just slide into a Q&A session. Feel free to engage with us. You can engage from our chat box, or you can feel free to raise your hand, and then we can take at least 2 or so comments and we get responses. Yes, Samuel, I see you. Please, you're welcome to unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and we can take it from there. So far, I just see your hand, Samuel.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to say that this is interesting. I mean, the whole initiative is mind-blowing for some of us who come from Nigeria, where we are increasingly getting issues of digital attacks, especially those in the media space. I think is something to be glad about. And I want to thank everyone who played part in this. So my question is this: to assess all these digital toolkits, does one have to do it all in the website? I mean, the AYETA.Africa website, or to some extent, like in cases of internet shutdown, does it have to be outside the website? Is there a provision where someone needing some sort of tool will have to reach out to someone outside that website?
Very great question. I'll allow Gabriel to ask as well, then we can take those responses. Very excellent question. Gabriel, feel free to unmute yourself, and you're welcome.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank everyone for this excellent job that you are doing. I want to congratulate everyone who have contributed in one way or the other to the production, to the development of AYETA, as the case may be. So first of all, my question, I'm a media person now. So I don't know if, apart from writing the news about this, the launch and the rest, and how do you think that the media can as well help to project and bring this thing, as in localize this thing to the grassroots? You know, because for instance now, this AYETA is something is in Yoruba language, for instance now, and in Nigeria here we have other ethnic groups. Okay, yeah, though the English is the normal, the general language for everyone. Yeah, but what I mean, the name, how can we get, I don't know, it's not everyone who sees that name that we be at home with it. Yes, I hear maybe as someone who has stayed in Lagos before, maybe I can say, yes, I hear some of the Yoruba language, but there are other people who are in the grassroots, who are in the rural communities. How do we ensure that they key into this wonderful initiative? That's my own. How can the media and beyond beyond the conventional reporting, what are the rules, or what are the expectations of the media in terms of disseminating, or in terms of raising awareness, creating awareness for this wonderful tool that is AYETA tool? So that is my own. Yeah, congratulations once for everyone who is involved. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll allow responses from the team here, but I think the questions are just asking around access to the toolkit in the event of internet shutdown. Do we have a contact person who can be reached? How can this document, or how can this be reached? And we also have a question around information dissemination of this wonderful toolkit to the grassroots. How can the media also be instrumental? How can they come in to ensure that this reaches everybody? So Benga, would you like to jump in there?
Sure. Happy to jump in. I'll start with some of the questions I'm saying. So for some reason, I'm getting some private questions instead of them being shared publicly. And that I suspect may have to do with I don't know, maybe it has to do with the settings, because I keep getting a lot of this questions. Oh, I see. Okay, I think that's why the chat settings. Yes, it's correct. If colleagues can just fix that, and I think it's now been fixed. Yes, I think so. Yes, I see. All right. So there are a few questions here. Can we share with other colleagues to download AYETA? Of course. Yes, that's the reason we're doing this. There's another question. Congrats to the team. How do you plan to get this toolkit into as many hands as possible in Africa, especially civic actors? I'll leave Boye and Thebekile to answer that question. Ates Solomon says there's a question, and to the two questions that were asked live. So in terms of contacts, yes, you can contact people outside the website. There is an email address on the toolkit. For obvious reasons, we are not releasing specific personalized email addresses, but you can be sure that the team members who are responsible for technical support will get that email when you send. There are other ways to get in touch. When you read the toolkit, by the way, you probably will not send an email. You probably use Signal to send a message or something, something other than that, or at least you will make sure that you're sending secure email. In terms of the question from the friend from the media who asked the question about how else to support apart from writing about this and how to contextualize. So the toolkit itself is not available in Yoruba, yes, but if you want to help to make that happen, or in Igbo or in Hausa, let's talk. And I'm absolutely certain that Boye will be more than happy to talk to you about that. But apart from that, what media people can do for this is, I think, first of all, to use the toolkit, because you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't sell what you don't use. So it's important well, there are people who can sell snake oil, who can sell anything, but we're suggesting that please use the toolkit, get familiar with it, practice what it says in your work, in your everyday work. And when you're able to do that, it will be much easier for you to write you could even write about your own experience, or your experience could lead you to specific questions that you may want to ask. So I'll stop there for now, and maybe, okay, Thebekile, over to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that is very interesting, and thank you for responding. Boye, would you like to unmute yourself as well and answer Charles, who's asking, how do you plan to get the toolkit to as many hands as possible within Africa, especially for civil and human rights actors? Very interesting. We need to know about this, considering today's Human Rights Day. How do we disseminate this information?
Yeah, and that will be, an ongoing conversation. But the immediate opportunity that exists for us as Paradigm Initiative is that we have some existing channels in terms of networks, in terms of coalition, and in terms of platforms that we currently have. For example, we have a Digital Rights Academy that we host every year, which used to be Digital Rights Workshop. At least one of the benefits for people who are subsequently going to be participants at that workshop now is that they will be introduced to this toolkit, and this toolkit will form part of the resources that we'll be using for the academy, and also, sharing with participants. But in addition to this, we'll also be making sure that we specifically reach out to our networks and coalitions to share this toolkit with them, and also encourage them to do the same, to also share to their networks. But in addition to all of this, we'll also be taking very specific, making very specific moves to, if I may use the word, the business word, market this to a larger community. But all of that will unveil as time goes by. But in the immediate, our networks, coalitions, and the community that we currently engage with. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Boy, for mentioning, networks, for mentioning deliberate efforts to, to send out AYETA. And well, I think we also rely on everyone here. You're free to share. You're part of that plan in terms of information dissemination, so that we reach, the ends of the continent and ensure that we give capacity to everyone to be able to be secure. So thank you so much for those responses. I'm going to take, yes, Benga, go for it.
So just unfortunately, because of my settings, I can't raise my hand virtually. I have to do it physically. So apart from, the things that Boye mentioned, I wonder if there are people who are in Zimbabwe, Zambia, or Nigeria today who still buy newspapers. Because if there are, and of course they're part of the audience that we're also trying to reach, if there's anyone like that, then you probably came across, the information about this toolkit made available on our website.
Thank you so much. I think Ate, your hand was up at some point, Ate. And I see Valerie also. So, yes, Ate, please go for it.
Yeah, hello. Okay, thank you. Thanks so much, Paradigm Initiative, for the wonderful project. It's amazing, and particularly I'm much in love with it. Most particularly because I'm here in Cameroon, and the project has made mention of my nation, Cameroon, where internet shut down. We had one of the longest internet shutdowns in Cameroon, and it's been news all over. And when we're talking about internet shutdown, us Cameroonians, our ears are very much itchy to understand. So I want to understand what aspect of both the Paradigm Initiative through the AYETA project they've touched, and how do they intend to send this very important document? Do you have intentions of sending this very important document to Cameroon? Because I know we are in a very fragile democracy in Cameroon, and the human rights situation doesn't permit some kind of conversations around human rights. I wanted to know if this document will be circulated in Cameroon. Secondly, when Mr. Bengna was presenting, he made mention of the fact that the Paradigm Initiative is not very much present around Central Africa. And I can affirm to that because I live here in Central Africa, and just like I made mention, the fragile democracy doesn't permit a lot of conversations around human rights. But I can quite remember that I've applied for fellowships with the Paradigm Initiative. I don't know if I was qualified or not, but I was unable to succeed. So I believe that the Paradigm Initiative should do a lot more to empower young activists like us who are working on that difficult situation. Because I'm not just a media, I'm not just into media, but I'm equally a full-time activist. But a lot of us come out of these very difficult situations in doing our work, and we believe that we can partner with the Paradigm Initiative to empower us, to equip us, so that we can be able to do the work that we do, most especially in a difficult situation like we find ourselves in the Central African sub-region, which is a very difficult region to work in. So I want to find out if the Paradigm Initiative has plans of investing more resources here in our region. Thank you.
Wow, that was interesting. Loaded. I can see Benga is smiling, and I'm sure he has a very good response for that one. Let me just see, is there anyone else who would want to ask another question so that we allow for our speakers to comment? Valerie, was that your hand up?
Yes, my hand was up, and I'm smiling because I want to say hi to Solomon. You're in Cameroon. I'm in Cameroon as well. And when I also followed the talked about internet shutdown and Cameroon wasn't mentioned, I got a little bit worried because just like you mentioned, we had internet blackout in the lone Anglophone regions in Cameroon, that's the southwest and northwest, for 245 or so days. And that was the talk of the day. That was in January 2017, just some months after the start of the Anglophone crisis. Yeah, but I was very much particular about the question of dissemination raised by the other participant in the media sector. I mean, I just wanted to highlight a little bit on this in the sense that as a media organ, I'll be you a journalist or so, but I'll go more for a media organ. If no, there are some media organs where they do have technical programs. I mean, programs that has to do perhaps with digital or human rights or stuff like that. And if maybe you find yourself in such an organization and you think you need a lot of enough resources or resource persons to talk more about this project or tool that we are putting forth, then I think it's very much welcome. And we're always going to be there to assist in what way, in any way that we can, in order to have the information, perhaps through your media, gets to the audience. And we understand that, I mean, the Africa is very diverse when it comes to languages, and you know, in order to best communicate and be effective, you need to talk in a language that the audience understands. So I mean, we are quite aware of that, and so we are very open when it comes to helping you meet or get the audience with the information about these, both in providing resource persons and maybe some other resources in order to help you get to those target audiences. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know if Rigobert is on the call. Just going around the room. Maybe also wants to make a comment, but basically Valerie is a Paradigm Initiative communications officer, and we've got literally two team members within Cameroon. And yes, please, we are excited about having this in Cameroon, and definitely helping where we can in terms of capacity or whatever you might need help with. So Rigobert, I'll also allow you to say something in case you'd like to say something. All right, I don't see Rigobert on the call. Perhaps Boye, you can take this one as well, as you know, as we go around the room to find more questions. Hello, Boye. All right, I don't see Boye unmuting himself. All right, so yes, Ati, I hope we've answered you that yes, feel free to reach out to us. We are, you know, keen on reaching out and keen on supporting and also offering capacity as well. And yes, the toolkit will be in Cameroon. Peter, would like to hear from you, and Temitope.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad to participate, and I'm glad to hear from your presentations, and it's full of information which can help us here in Africa, especially in Tanzania. When I was looking at the presentation from Mr. Jibenga, I went through that even here in Tanzania, people are not aware of their security. So the tool is going to be very impactful to our communities, even to our citizens here. As most of them, they are not aware. We are trying our level best to educate them on how to use VPN and how to protect themselves from the cyber issues. So far, during for those who were proactive, and I was engaging in a campaigning to use VPN during the election, before the election. Some of people ignored, some of them who took into action, they listened to me. But when we shared those, the way we install and the way we can use the VPN, unfortunately, 3 days before, Twitter and other social media were switched off, and there was internet blackout, you can say, or trotting. But for those who had the VPN, they kept navigating through the different social media. Until now, I can tell you that Twitter is still, I cannot even access Twitter through my web browser here until I use a VPN. I cannot use Twitter without using VPN in my phone. It's something is going on. So people, just because we need the right to express our views, the right to get information, it's time for the tool that if we get it on the right time like this, it will be much better to raise more awareness and bring more people to understand their rights on digital rights and inclusion. Thank you so much. Thank you for PIN, and thank you for AYETA and the other multi-stakeholders like SPESA for bringing impact in, especially in East Africa and Tanzania. Though we have a long way to go, you just be patient. We are still moving forward. Thank you so much. Together we can.
Thank you so much. Very inspiring. Together we can. Yes, I totally agree with you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Temitope, please go for it. And colleagues, we are drawing closer to the end of our session. So please go for it.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations again to the team. I'm very excited to see this. As I listen to comments around dissemination, I just wanted to chip in that it would be very important to start thinking beyond digital rights communities to traditional human rights organizations, those who work around political issues, women's rights. They're the ones who truly need this. And I do think that this was really demonstrated during the NSAS protest in Nigeria. I had a lot of people in my inbox suddenly asking me questions because they know about my work around these issues. And there were a lot of people who needed help. People just around the pandemic situation and how a lot of life as we know it has moved online. We have people who are coming online for the first time, and we have people who are using the internet in new ways. So I do think that this is going to be really relevant increasingly beyond the traditional digital rights community. So I do think that the team should begin to think about how this can, also reach traditional human rights communities and, more importantly, people who are new to the internet space, who are using the internet in new ways to advance their work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, very pertinent, point, how, we need AYETA to reach as far as, civil society actors, human rights actors who need this as well in the space within which they are working. Because I think more and more we see that even crackdowns that happen do not just happen around, media practitioners, but also they happen around human rights activists, crackdown on their activity online. Internet shutdowns equally affect them. And, I think you're making a very great, highlight there, and that is taken on board and, very essential. And definitely, we look forward to offering capacity as well within that space and reaching out to traditional human rights actors as well. And I don't know if Benga, you also would like to say a few extra words. I'll allow one person before you say those words to come in quickly as we are wrapping up the session. Ni, please, can you unmute yourself and go for it? Ni Bakari. Please unmute yourself. Sorry, we can barely hear you.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and I'll ask the other raised hands. Please, can you just type your question in the chat box as we are taking the last question? Please go for it. Go for it. Ni. Hello, Ni.
I think it dropped off with a connection issue.
All right. Okay, so there is a question in the chat box, Benga. Perhaps you can just wrap that up and just address the questions that are there. Great innovation will be of great value to everyone online. All right, that's a comment that says, well done, Benga and the team. Thank you so much for that. Would you like to make a comment as we wrap up the session?
No, just to thank everyone, to thank again the team members, Boniface, yourself, Boye, everyone else on the team who worked on this, and to also thank our partners who contributed to this from the very beginning, to thank everyone on the call, to thank, I see one of my colleagues, it's 6 a.m. for Elizabeth, but she's here on the call, so shout out to you, Elizabeth. She's my colleague at the Stanford Digital Civil Society Lab. And just to thank everyone for making it today. Our colleagues who will be doing the groundwork here, Bulanda, Ekai, Rigobert, Valerie, and everyone, just say thank you. This is a journey we're now starting, and we look forward to, thankfully, we have an offer for the Hausa translation already. So thank you very much, Abubakar. We're that organization that when you make a promise, we will find you and we will get that promise fulfilled out of you. So thanks for making that offer. And that's it for me. Thank you everyone for joining us. See you online and see you next year, because this officially marks for me the last Zoom meeting for the year.
Yes, please. I think everyone is zoomed out, as Benga mentioned earlier, but thank you so much for being great today, for joining us. We've had a wonderful session, and thank you so much. Congratulations to all of us as we launch AYETA, our digital rights toolkit. Please keep safe. You've got your bulletproof vest, so please keep safe and enjoy the festive season, and keep well, travel well if you're going to travel, and hope to meet soon in the coming year, possibly online. I doubt that, I don't know, who knows how things are going to shape in the next year. I can't just put an X to it. We might meet in person. So enjoy, and please share AYETA with everybody, and we look forward to partnering on translations, etc. So thank you, and I know I've got an avid DJ who's ready to entertain us as we jump out of this call. But if you please just drop one word of how the session was as you leave, if you can, in the chat box. Thank you so much.
With Colgate's maximum cavity protection, I can be sure your teeth are cavity-free. Recommended by Nigerian Dental Association. Jerusalem, Ikayalami, Bilondoloze, Ambenami, Zungangishilana, Jerusalem, Ikayalami, Bilondoloze, Ambenami, Zungangishilana. I'm not burning. energy, I no get time for no enemy. To read nothing with person never see, I'm nothing with person never see. Forget it, I say bash. And soon expect take our body agent. I take her to the person. I'm in the answer, yes sir. Then I'm in the answer, yes sir. Respect is reciprocal, even though I know say special. Anybody, we no want to search it. Anybody, we no take body. I can't sort it, I can't sort it. No matter, I can't sort it.
Okay, Subekile, I don't know if I'm not sure that you closing the meeting. I'm not sure that everyone knew that you closed the meeting. So maybe I should pause the music for a second and let you close the meeting. And if there are other comments.
So thank you so much again. And I think we've come to the end of our session.